Hi everyone, this is Prem Acharya from Dented Code. How are you doing today? Welcome back to my Create CRM ticket system from scratch using Stack tutorial series. In the previous tutorial, we sort of created all the pages for our front end using React app. From this tutorial onward, we are going to create RESTful API for our front end application using Node and Express. And in this particular tutorial, we are going to initialize our project and getting ready for writing routers. Okay, I'll see you inside the computer then. Okay, let's quickly look into our Trello. Trello board. So this is our Trello board. So these are the tasks we have completed in previous tutorials. So today we're supposed to be building a CRM ticket system API backend. So I can see we have integrated backend API task, but we forgot to create the task for create backend. So let's add a card here, backend API, or rather RESTful API. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. There are so many parts within this API, so we will do one by one. So what we're going to do today is that set up backend RESTful API. We'll be setting up our backend API today, and then in this tutorial, and from next tutorial, we'll be building more and more. So let's start working on it. Actually, I want to add a few more tasks here. So what I'm gonna do, I'll say and create user router, and we also need to create ticket router. So what we're gonna do now, first we'll set up our project today and this video, and the next video we will create our user router, and then another video we'll do ticket router. And then from the create user router, we will have to integrate with our database and then respond all the required data. So let's first thing what I want to do now is okay, I want to open a folder. So I'm in my CRM ticket system folder. Yeah, what I want to do is I want to open a folder called CRM, okay, client API. I'll just say client API for now. And I want to open this folder in my VS Code so that we can start writing our project. So let's minimize that. And okay, my VS Code has opened here. So first thing, we have to start initializing our project. So open up the terminal, and what we're going to do is we're going to initialize our project. Just make sure that you have your Node installed. Simply check your Node version by typing Node-v. I'm using v12.18. If you are using any latest version than this one, everything should be working. Okay, so what I want to do first is that let's initialize the project. So do npm init, and then it will ask you a few options to fill up. So here it's asking me, should I put the package name client-API? That's our project name, or you want to rename something. So I just want to leave as it is, and version 1, leave as it is. Description, you can write something or leave it. I'll just write down API for CRM client-side app. And then I want to, as an entry point, I want to put app.js. I don't need any test command, and Git repository is not ready yet, but later once we finish our task today, I'll push this code to Git repository so that you can have a look as well. Okay, keywords no need. Author, I'll write down Dented code, no license for now. Is it okay? So as soon as I hit yes, it will create the package.json file here. You can see the name of the application, version, description, main, and then the author. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to install few packages. We need few packages to run the application. So okay, before you do that, you see the main is app.js. Let's create that folder. Create that file here on the root folder. So create app.js and hit enter. And here just write down console.log and say got hit, and save this file. And just to make sure our node is all working, you just on our console go and do node and type the app.js file. So if you see the console got hit here, that means our node is working. So if you change something else here, it will, again, you need to run that and it will console that out. That means our node is working with that for our API. So let's add up more packages. Okay, before anything else, I want to install the package called Express. Express will handle our all routing. So let's do npm. If you are using yarn, you can use yarn 8, but I'm using npm, that's fine. So I'm going to do npm I express. Along with express, there are a few more packages I want to install. Let me quickly show you what I'm going to install. So I want to install body parser. What it does is that it will parse all the incoming HTTP request into a object form so that we can access it. And we are going to install course. So basically this is the short form of cross origin resources. So basically what it does is that this package will prevent from your API to access from the other browser unless you have authorized. When we are writing code in the future, I'll explain more in detail about it. And the another one I want to use Helmet. Helmet will provide you some pre-built inbuilt security, which is good to have. This one takes a lot of headache out of you. So if you want to know more about it, definitely you can check in their webpage here. And another one we're going to use is Morgan. Morgan is just a logger, so it will log out the every request you send to API. So let's install them as well. So let me put it away. So I'm gonna say express body parser course Helmet and Morgan. So hit enter and it will install all the file and it will update our dependency here. Soon you'll see the dependency here in this file. There you go. Our course, express, Helmet and Morgan are installed, and these are the version that we are going to use now. Okay, our package installation is done. So let's go to our app.js. So let's start building our app on the entry file. So basically what we're going to do is that we're going to import our express. Let's do const express equals to require express, and let's give it const app for the express function. And if you do like that, and here if you do app.listen and you define the port here. Okay, we haven't defined the port yet. Let's go define the port first. I want to, let's say here, I want to say const port equals to, okay, when we push this code in production, we might not have a fixed port. So in order to be in the safe side, we can simply do process dot env dot port. That means if we are in the if we have a port available in our environment variable, we use that. Otherwise we will use 3001, and same port we're going to use in our listen here. And we have a error function saying, we can say now here console.log. We can, okay, I'm gonna do template string saying that API is ready on http:// local host colon, that's for the now port. So the port number we have already defined up there, so let's give as a variable name here port. So if you save that and if you run the application node, we're telling node to run our app file app.js. When you hit enter, now it's saying there you go, API is running in this URL. So if you click on this one here, control and click, you see here it's saying get is cannot get. Let me explain you what happened here quickly. Basically our app is working. Since we haven't defined our URI, any path here to handle it, it's saying it cannot get. So let's do one thing. So what we can do, simply say app.use. App.use allow you to add middleware. If you don't know what is middleware are basically the function they execute during the request lifecycle. So basically you can access the request or response object in the middleware and you can modify them. So here simply we say, let's say when you are in the root directory, we always receive a request, response, and next. These three things are you always receive with every request. And this is again error function. And if you say rest.json, I'll say, let's say message is hi there, and save the file. And now do again. Now we need to stop this one because we need to, since our file is updated, now we need to rerun the application. Node app.js, it's throwing error. So why throwing error? Because these are the sorry, so these 3 parameter should be in one bracket, and this is like just the extra, I don't know where it came from. Just save the file. So app.use will allow us to do the operation inside here. So inside this function, so this is the URI path, and this is the property you're going to get from the router, especially from the express, and then based on that one we can execute our code here. So I wrote req for request. You can write full request here, or same thing, res for response for the response header, and next. So don't worry about the next at the moment. I just wanted to tell you that you can put there. So let's remove the on for now and just save it. And when you go to our URL, okay, before you go to our URL, let's run it again. Now it's saying hi there, so it's working. Okay, so you realize that every time we make change here, we have to rerun the application every time, which is super duper inconvenient. You guys can already see that how it is inconvenient for us to rerun the server every time we make change. Here, like for example, if you want to make some changes here and then save it, the file does not update. So even if we refresh here, it will not make any change because our server has not restarted. So this is very like inconvenient. So what we can do is that simply we can use something called NodeMen. I'll just quickly show you what is that. NodeMen is basically designed to reload your server or refresh your server every time you save the file. This is the package we're going to use, NodeMen. So it's pretty simple to use. So I already have installed NodeMen in my system. So let me stop the application, and then if I do NodeMen v, I have already installed NodeMen in my system as a global package. If you don't have in your system, you can install as a global, or you can install as your package dependency for this project only. So to do that, you simply here shows you how to do it. If you want to install globally, run this command, or if you want to use the NodeMen as a dev dependency, you can use this one. Okay, and now simply what we can do, instead of node and app name, we can do NodeMen app. So instead of every time we're doing node.app.js, so we're going to do nodemon.app.js and hit the enter. Now you can see the difference. It's basically watching if any file has been changed. Now let's see what's in there. It's saying here hi there, right? So if we, let's say, put some text here and then save the file, it will change the file. And now if you see down here, it's saying restarting due to changes. So it detects that we changed some file. So now we can simply refresh it and see the difference. So we are not going to use browser to access our APIs. What we're going to use is something called Postman. Postman is a tool that allow you to make a HTTP request for your API. So it's free to use. You download this one. I mean, this is what I use. If you are using anything else as a tool to make a external API call, you can use if you have any already. If not, we can use Postman. I already have downloaded. So when you open the Postman, this is what it looks like. So now I don't need the browser, so I'm gonna close this all and put it down. So here, okay, so this is our URL path, and yeah, so you can, Postman simply allow you to make any type of request. So we are going to use get request for now, and then our port is 3001. When you hit enter, you said hi there and whatever we have typed here. So let's say if we remove that one and if save the file, the NodeMen will update the file, refresh the server. If we do request again, it will make change here. So NodeMen is very easy to use. So to make us even easier, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna update the package.json folder. We don't need test script, so I'm gonna do start, and then inside here I'm gonna say, hey NodeMen, run the app.js please, and save it. Not NodeMen. Okay, now let's simply do npm start, and it will start our application. Oops, sorry about the misspelling. I'm bad speller. So npm start. Now it's ready. If you do send the request, it's saying hi there. And if you change something here again, save it, it will work straight away here. Okay, we are going to use Postman to make a call to our API, and I'll keep this open here, and this one will write the code here. Okay, our basic setup is done. So let's add a few more things that we install here, like Chorus, body parser, helmet, and Morgan. We already set up the Express, so let's go use the other one. So let's go. First thing I want to use here is the body parser. So import the whatever you want to use, you have to import first. So import body parser, require body parser, and same way we need course, require course, and helmet, require do the helmet as well. Okay, these three things we're gonna use it. Let's put some security first. So I'll just say API security. So what we're going to do is that app.use, inside there we're going to use helmet. It will help us to have some like initial setup of some security for our API. So definitely check it out in their page, more detail about it. It's really good one. And then we're going to use Chorus setup. Okay, so what we're going to do is again app.use course. Yeah, that's done as well. Okay, we need to import one more thing, Morgan. Let's import that Morgan as well. Import Morgan, and it's just the logger. So do the same thing, app.use Morgan, and now I'll quickly show you how it works, what it does. So every time you send the request, it tells you like where the request is coming from. This is the API, and that's the date of the request, and that's the method, and this is the status code and the time, Postman runtime here. Morgan has a few other options you can use. You can use combine, or like normally tiny or combine. So if you use combine, you get basically all of this information that you saw here. If you use tiny, you can only see the like a very minimum information, like you got the get request, the response is 200, and the time taken is 7.286 millisecond. So I'll just leave as a tiny for now. So every time you send, regardless whatever you send here, it will log you out here, and it will tell you what's the method and what is the URI. Okay, let's get back that here, and I'll leave this one as tiny. And now I want to set up the body parser. So body parser, as you already know, will help us to parse our incoming body as an object so that we can access it from the code here. So again, app.use, inside here use body parser dot URL encoded, and inside pass the object called extended true, and the next line again app.use, we need body parser dot JSON as well. Okay, all good now. So everything still works here, and there is the tiny Morgan logger. Okay, this one is done. Now let's create some router. So basically we have two different you know what, before we create the router, let's go create a file called, let me save this file. So we need to know what are the routers we're going to create, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a file called reademe.md. Inside here I'm going to write the information about the file, CRM system API. Okay, instead of you guys watching me typing all information here, which is not very super important for you to learn, this is just the information. So what I'll do, I'll quickly type, and then I'll get back to you and explain you what I'm doing here. Okay guys, I already typed it here, so let me make it bigger so that you can see. Let me quickly explain what I did here. This is just the information for you. It's a good habit that you start writing the documentation as well, what you are doing. So okay, yeah, basically what I'm saying is that this is the CRM ticket system. I'm telling information if anybody wants to use it. So I said this is API part of the CRM ticket system, blah 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 series, and then link for the series is, I'm gonna put the link later here once the tutorial is updated to YouTube. And I say I provide information how to use here. Say simply git clone. I'll put the link here later once I have a Git repo, and npm start. And then make sure I have also put the node that we need node1 in order for you to run the npm start. Otherwise you can do node app.js. And in our resources, API resources, we're going to use two resources. We're gonna need two different resources, one user API resources and the other one ticket resources. In user API, all we need is that basically we're going to have something like this URI. So we go to our website and then let's say I put B1, because in the future if you want to update our API, we can leave this one as it is and start writing new API with B2, so that we are not disturbing our application. So every time people visit B1/users, it will take us to our user router. So in here, let me make bigger. So these are the router we're going to need in our user API. So I'm gonna need login, and we're gonna, here I have written this tabular form. So if you see this one looking nice, if you are wondering how I did it, basically when you put like a equal, this is like a column. When you see in the web page in the repo, it will convert into a table. So it's like basically the markdown file. So if you put like the pipe sign, and if you put any content and with this line and any content, even there is like not looking nice like this, as long as you have enough number of like a volume from each row, it will, if you save the file, it will turn into this nice looking table here. What we're going to need is, we need login, we need request reset password, and we need reset password, and we need user/id. So these are the method we're going to call to this API, and I just put the progress. They are all to do. Once we're done, we will mark them as done, and I put is private. So these two don't need authentication. So for these three actually, and for this API to access, yes, it's a private. We need to verify that user is logged in. So these are the little description I have written here. And same thing for the ticket API. These are the URI for the APIs. So for each API, I have provided the bobs, progress, and if it is private, yes, they are all private. So we have to make sure that user is logged in before they can, before they access to these routers. And this is the information I have put here. So I'll definitely, this one you can definitely check in the GitHub repo. So it's not too important to know this thing. I mean, this is good habit, writing the documentation every time you write code, so that let's say if somebody wants to jump in this project and start building up more, it's more easy for them to read and understand how the code is flowing in, which code is doing what. Okay, with that saying, I'm going to close this file. If you want to read more about this one, definitely check the repo. The description in the link for the repo is in the description below. So I'm going to close this now. So let's continue with this one. So basically as you see, as you see, we're going to need user router and the ticket router. Let's create them and then leave this tutorial. Okay, so I'm going to go to our app.js. So here what I'm going to do is that instead of creating all the routers here, what I would like to do is that let's create a folder called src, and we put all of our code inside this folder. Inside here, I'm going to create a folder called routers, and inside the router, I'm going to need a user router, and also I'm going to need a ticket router, as you see in our README file. Okay, inside the ticket router, what we do, let's do the user router first. What we do here is simply, again, we need express here, import the express, and then define the router. Router equals to express. Express provide you router method that we can access like that. Now what we can do is simply we say router dot, you can say all, you can say get, or you can say post. You can define any method you like here. So for now, I just want to put all here, and inside all here, you want to provide what URI you want to redirect to this router. So I want that first you need slash, and then here we're going to have nothing. Okay, this is the root router, so it will have again request, response, and next is an arrow function, and here let's say rest.session That means we're sending back to the requesting, we're sending the response back here. So I'll say message written from user router, save the file, and now we need to export this router here as a module.exports equals to router. Let's save this file and let's import this file in our app.js here. So what I'm gonna do here, simply say load routers. I'm gonna say const that was user router require from the path to that file, so which is basically inside the src, inside the router, and the file name is user router. You don't need .js here. So now we can simply simply forward our route to this router. So every time we get the request, let's do use router here. I'll just utilize this line, use router. So we are loading here. Now we're going to use here. So here let's leave this one default there. So what I'm gonna do, simply say app.use. So every time we have b1/user, remember this one, every time we have, oh not this one, b1 /user coming, we need user coming. Let's send this request to this router, and then everything will be handled inside this file. So let's save this file, and now what happens every time we get this request, it will redirect to this router file, and we handle everything here. Let's open our node 1 and do user here and send the get request b1 user, not user, sorry, with the b1 and user version 1. Let's send it. If you hit send, okay, we got an error here. Let's see. Okay, what's the error saying is res.json is not a function. It's not JSON, sorry, that's a zones. Okay, it's not a function in the user router line number 5, user router line number 5. And if I can spell, I'll be awesome, but I'm bad at spelling, guys. I'm telling you again and again and again and again. Okay, so now let's send it. So now you can see the message written from the user. So that means now we have reroute our router to this file. So now from here we will do all of our router handling inside here only. Okay, let's do same thing with the same thing for the ticket router as well. I'm gonna copy everything here, everything from here, and put in our ticket router. So is there anything we need to change here? Maybe just say from ticket router. Nothing we need to change at the moment here, because we need express, we need router, and we need to export the router, and we haven't defined anything specific. So let's go and load our ticket router in our app.js again here. So you can give any name you like, okay guys, here. So ticket router from ticket router, the file path. And now again in our use router, let's create another app.use, and instead of user, now we put ticket, and it will send to our ticket router page. Now save the file, and now let's send it. So when we send user, it's still getting written from user router. Now if you change this to ticket and send it, and now you're getting response from ticket router. And now you can see the Morgan is printing what request is coming and how long did it take to response. Okay, this one is done. So what happens if the router is not found by the express? We need to handle that error, right? So what happens basically now, everything, if it is not found above here, it will let's put start. So if the router is not found, everything will be gone through this route here, all route, and we'll say resources not found, for example. Okay, so let's check that. Let's save it and check that out. So let's say we put some random URI that is not exist in our system yet. If you send that one, the resource is not found. So well, we handle that, but let's also handle the error. For example, if we have some error somewhere here, I want to say console.log. Hey, let's save that. Just want to show you quick here. Let's say if I say this one, we are in user. When we send the request here, you can see hey is printed from here. So let's say okay, now there's nothing, but when we start building a lot of code and building our application, there will be definitely some point where there will be a lot of error throwing from the system for some reason. So in that case, let's say name. For example, I'm just giving name. The name has not defined anywhere, so this is an error. This is runtime error. So let's save it and see how the application gonna act. So now if we send the request, see the application is kind of crash. Here you can see all the HTML information with the error message. So we want to handle that too. This is not nice if we just leave like that. So what we're gonna do to handle that, we're going to create a function to handle with the error, and we will try to centralize the error message. Okay, so I want to go and create a folder called util. Sorry, not here, inside the src folder, utils, and inside here I'm gonna say error handler.js, and here I'm gonna create a function called const handle error, and we will receive few things here. We will receive error, and we will request response object, and this is the error function again. And here simply we're going to console, still gonna log out error to response to the client. Simply say response.json. Now inside the object we say, okay, that's a method. Inside the method we pass object with the message saying the error will have a message here. So the message from the error. So let's export that out. Handle error, and let's import this one in our app.js. So I'll just import here only. So I'm gonna say const handle error from, you need to do require and put the path of that file, which is inside the src folder, inside the utils, and inside the inside the file name is error handler, but we don't need .js file. And here what we can do, simply pass out error with the response. So what we do, so every time we say every time we have error, we response here. Instead of we response here, we throw the error here. Simply say let's create the const error equals to new. We are creating error here, like error, and put the message. Now let's put this message here, resource not found message. We are not responding back to our client from here, but what we're doing is, remember I was telling you that the request, the app.use here, you get request, response, and next. So basically what next does is that if you have any, this is like one router, right, coming for this path. So if you have something to do with this router, you can handle the router, and instead of returning response back to your client, you can basically pass something to the next router to do something else. So next will allow you to execute your next router instead of responding back to client. So what we can do, simply we can do next, and the next we can send the error, and here error dot status equals to 404. This is the error status code for resource not found. If you are not familiar with the status code, simply go to browser and do http status code, and you will get tons of information. You can check any way you like. So basically it will like explain you what sort of the code is referred to what sort of condition. So the common one you want to know is 200 is means okay every time you respond the API call. So you have a look that one if you don't know about it, but don't stress too much, you'll just learn along the way. Okay, so we pass the status as well, and then we do simply next, and then next we'll call any other router we are going to define here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just create another router called app.use here again. Now you can just pass asterisk like that, and again do request response next, and call arrow function and do stuff here. Basically now you don't need to do asterisk this one. If you don't provide, it still means that if you don't find any router over here, it will come to this line and execute here, and then next one will send the router to the next router. So here we can do the code, and here since we are sending next here error, we can receive the error as well, because so we are not going to reach this code unless we have not found any error and gone through this one and come, or system has generated some error. By the time system comes to this router, we will have an error in our system. So now let's copy this one and we put on the top of both of this error handler, and let's pass all these three parameter to this function. So actually we only need error. Remember that I said before, we need error and then we need response, because we need to response back to client. So we only need error and response, and let's go to our error handler again here. So that means all of our error will come through this function. Now from here you can log the error just as a standard output, or you can write in the file, or you can even store in database. You can do whatever you like, but for this tutorial purpose we are not going to do anything. We will just do standard logout, and we will only respond the message of the error to the client. So here what we're going to do, before do respond.json, let's figure it out what the status code will be. So let's do rest.status. Let's provide, so the status will be either error.status, or if there is no error.status, that means the system error, that's 500. So this error.status, if you remember in app here, we throw the error.status 404 for resource not found cases. So that's the 404 defining here. So anything other than that is probably like to cause the error by the system crash, which is server error. So that's 500. And now we send the message. Now let's save the file and let's call the same URL and see what happens. See here, all the message is gone, all the HTML and everything is gone. We only have the actual error here. So see, it's saying name is not defined because we are creating name, we are providing name variable without defining it. So of course it's not defined. So now if you look into our log, which we have logged everything else, all the all the error message here. Now you can see detailed error message. It's saying name is not defined, which was passed here, and it will tell you exactly where is the error. So that's in the user.router and on line number 5. So I would like to leave like this as it is for now, and this is for us to debug and fix our issue and just respond the actual error for the client. And as you can see here, the status, it's saying 500 internal server error. That's what we wanted to send. And let's say if we just provide some URL that we don't have, if you send it, it will say 404 not found with resource not found. And if you provide something that we have already, like everything working fine URL, it will say status 200 okay with the return from the ticket router. Okay guys, that's all working fine. Let's save all the file. Let's quickly go through this one and I'll explain you what we're doing. If you are still following along and if you are enjoying this content, please give a like to this video. Thank you. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Let's quickly run through what we did. So first we install body parser course, Express, Helmet, and Morgan package, and we created our app.js file as a main entry point, and every time you run the application it will come through the app.js file. So here first you require Express, because we are going to use Express routing system, so that we don't have to build all the routing and handle every part of the route by ourselves. So and then we are using body parser to parse all the incoming requests from the router to turn into the object, so that we can access and use that incoming body part. And we are using chorus to handle the issue when you are basically requesting any request here from any other server than actually this API server. The browser will not work, will not let you request any of these resources. So to fix that issue we need course, so that's how we fix it. And Morgan is the logger, so every time you visit the URL it will log in the console. And Helmet is for the security. It's a lot to talk about Helmet, so I would recommend you to read about it, because there is like a really good documentation about it. And then this is how we use body parser, and we defining our port here, so that every time we run our application we run on our port 3001. And then we have created two router, one for user and ticket as a version 1, and we have created router in separate file under the src routers and ticket.router and user.router. We are loading them here and then passing here and executing from the file. And if there is no router is found, we are just throwing the 404 resources not found error. And we are also creating we also created a error handle function that will handle all our errors. So every error our application generates will come through here, and then we will have a log of the detailed error message, and we will only have the message response to the client, and we will have an appropriate status code as well. So that is all, guys. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you like the tutorial. If you did, then give me a thumbs up. In the next tutorial we are going to build up and complete our user router, and we are going to need to use a MongoDB, because we need to store the data about the user and then extract the data from database. So we are going to use a Mongo database. Guys, it's going to be exciting. So if you haven't subscribed the channel yet, please subscribe the channel so that you don't miss my next tutorial. So I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye for now.